All right, today we're jumping into a really interesting project called Audius. The big idea here, to completely rewire the music industry using blockchain. The promise is pretty simple. Give the power back to the artists, get rid of the middlemen, and build a totally open platform for music.
But let's kick things off with a question that really gets to the heart of it all. Have you ever been streaming your favorite artist, saw they have millions of plays, and just wondered, why are they still struggling to make a living? Why do they only get a tiny, tiny fraction of the money their music actually makes? Well, that's the problem Audius is trying to fix.
So before we can really appreciate the solution Audius is bringing to the table, we've got to understand the problem. And that problem is all about centralized control. Think about it. Right now, most artists are totally dependent on these huge centralized platforms. You know the names: Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. These guys are the gatekeepers. They decide how music gets out there. They own all the super valuable data about who's listening. And of course, they take a massive cut of the revenue. It leaves artists with almost no control and, frankly, a pretty small piece of the pie.
This quote from our source material just nails it, doesn't it? It's a system where the creators, the people actually making the art, have the least amount of say over their own work and how they connect with their fans. Okay, so what's the alternative? Well, this is where Audius comes in. It's proposing a completely different way of doing things, a decentralized answer to this very centralized problem.
So what is Audius at its core? It's a music streaming service, just like you're used to, but it's built on blockchain. And the whole point, the entire mission, is to let artists upload their stuff and connect directly with their fans, cutting out those traditional gatekeepers completely. And this slide really shows you the philosophical difference. On one hand, you've got the old way. A single company is in charge, pulling all the strings. On the other hand, you have the Audius model, which is run by its community, the artists and the fans. It's about moving from gatekeepers to direct connections, and from a system that can be censored to one that's built to be wide open. All right, so the big question is, how does a platform like this actually work without some big corporation in charge? Well, the way they've built it is actually really clever. What's so interesting here is that it's a hybrid system. See, you don't actually put the music files on the blockchain. That would be incredibly slow and expensive. Instead, as you see in step 1, the songs are stored on a network of servers run by users called content nodes. That keeps everything speedy. Then step 2 is the blockchain, which is like the brain of the whole operation. It's the public rulebook that coordinates everybody, makes sure the rules are followed, and keeps the whole system secure. And the thing that powers this whole ecosystem is the audio token. It's got 3 main jobs. First, and this is huge, is governance. It means the people who hold the token, the artists and the users, get to vote on where the platform goes next, not some corporate board. Second is staking. People can lock up their tokens to help secure the network, and they get rewarded for it. It's a great incentive to keep everything running smoothly. And finally, it unlocks exclusive features, giving artists and fans access to cool new tools. And this is a super important point to get. You don't use the audio token to pay for a song like you would on iTunes. Its job is so much bigger than that. It's a utility token. It's the glue that holds the whole thing together. It's for coordinating, securing, and governing the network. Okay, so the tech sounds cool, the mission is great, but this brings us to the million-dollar question. Is anyone actually using it? Let's talk about real adoption versus all the hype. Because let's be honest, this is the question that looms over almost every crypto project, right? Is this just another fancy white paper promising a future that's never going to get here? And this is really where Audius starts to stand out. Unlike so many projects that are just an idea, Audius is a live working platform right now. You can go use it. Real artists are uploading their music, and real people are listening to it every single day. It might be small compared to the giants, but it's a real thing. So if you really want to figure out if Audius is healthy, you have to look past the token's price. The metrics that really matter are things like this. Are more artists actually joining and uploading music? Is platform use going up? Are people listening? And is there a team of developers still actively building and making it better? These are the real signs of life. But let's be real. Even with a working product and some early traction, Audius is facing an absolutely monumental battle. We have to look at the huge hurdles it needs to clear if it's going to survive. And the challenges are no joke. First, you're competing with giants. That's a brutal fight. Then you've got the huge challenge of getting big, mainstream artists on board. Also, and this is crucial, the business model is still a work in progress. It's unproven.
And on top of all that, its success is still pretty tied to the wild swings of the bigger crypto market. Which really leaves us with the ultimate question, the one that's going to decide everything. Is offering artists a better deal, more control, a direct line to their fans, and a fairer cut, is that enough to actually take on the titans of the music industry? The answer to that is going to determine if Audius becomes a real revolution or just a really fascinating experiment.